I'll just skip ahead a little bit. So just, standard stuff. Take a look at the different team compositions here. We are running Ana, Ryan, Hog, Soldier, Ash, Mercy. So we are running mainly a spam composition. We have an Ash who is spam, Soldier who's spam, Mercy who's spam, Hog who's spam, and then Ryan and Ana can fit okay in that. They're mainly brawl though. On the enemy team, they look like they are half spam, half dive, or something along those lines. They have the Ball and Genji who are dive. They're running more of a hybrid here. And then the Zarya is gonna bubble the ball in when he dives in, and then Hanzo's just gonna spam. So, looks like yeah, we're just gonna look to play a little bit slower. They're gonna look to play a bit fast here. Okay.
I will keep you healed.
The objective is now active.
I've seen worse. You're going to live.
I need healing.
Okay, so what I'm looking for here is the fact that it doesn't look like we used our abilities once that fight. So just we gotta make sure that we're actively looking to use those. So if you look bottom right here, we walk into the fight, we press fast forward. Does not seem that we were looking to land any of those throughout this entire fight, and then that just means that, when we don't use our abilities, we don't get any value from them. So no ability usage that fight. We still won, but that's just something to keep in mind, that we want to be using our abilities.
Right, but like, I saw that there was a bunch on high ground, and hitting a sleep up there is pretty difficult. And
Which
I'm not gonna land a nade up there.
Which like there weren't like them on high ground weren't the only time, like they weren't just on high ground that last fight, right? They didn't have their entire team up there. Like we rewatched this for a little bit. They had 2 people up on high ground, right? And then they have 4 people here on low ground. We don't need to be landing our sleeps and nades up on these people up here. And just keep in mind that even if the sleep is a difficult sleep to land, it's better to miss the sleep than to have never used the sleep at all, because you have a chance to actually land it. So we just want to make sure that we're actively looking to land abilities, and if you're getting better and you're practicing and getting better with your sleep, you're going to be able to actively land those sleeps, even if they're more difficult, because you're getting better at landing sleeps. If you're not using sleep at all, you're never going to be able to practice and get good with it. Alright, so we want to make sure that we're still using it, even if it might be a difficult sleep to land, as long as we think that it's going to be useful if we land it. Okay, right now we probably want to be repositioning here, taking like top left or something like that. They're running dive still, so we have to keep in mind we're probably one of the biggest dive targets on our team. They're not going to dive Hog, they're not going to dive Ryan. Mercy can get away. They're probably going to look, and like Soldier also has sprint, so they're going to look to dive like either you, Soldier, or Ash mainly. So we just have to be very careful with our positioning. But starting off on the high ground here just means that like they use like abilities to get up to us, so we just drop from high ground, and then we're kind of safe away from them. So high ground's probably going to be a good place to start off here, or at least further back. Us sitting close here just means that we're going to be a little bit more open to getting dove. Okay, so I see we're backing up. This is better. Okay, we nano Ash when we have a nano visor going on. So just keep in mind that even though you're saving her life here, you're probably how much. So you have to kind of think about it like this. How much value, or let's make an estimate. How many kills do you think you could possibly get if you use a nano visor here?
Um, I don't know, a couple maybe.
Well, I'd probably say like 2 or 3-ish maybe, right? Especially when you're comboing 2 ults like that. Like, it's kinda like the same thing with a nano blade. You're usually gonna get around 2 kills, and those 2 kills outweighs the value you're gonna get by saving 1 life, because 2 kills is, worth more than 1 death. So us nanoing the soldier here is going to get us much more value than the Ash, when we could just, land a regular shot on her and to heal her up. That is a decent strategy in other situations, but in this situation, probably the nanovisor is going to get a lot more value. So that comes back to, and then that keeps our soldier alive, and then that means that he's not dying. So we just gotta really keep in mind, like, who do we want to nano? What are our nano priorities? I believe we've gone over Ana before, right? Yeah, I see we've gone over Ana if I just scroll through our notes in the past. And so we've probably talked about this, but pick out target priorities in your head of who you want to be like nanoing before fights happen, or be even at the start of the round, so that we know who's the best target to nano, right? On our team, Ash isn't typically a good nano target. Mercy's not a good nano target. Soldier, when he has visor, is a good nano target. Hog, when he has his ult, is a good nano target. And the Ryan's an okay nano target, but he's probably not going to be great against a dive, right? Because they're going to be able to just, get away from him super easily. So, Soldier is probably going to be the best one you can nano, because, again, they're probably not going to be at a very close range to you guys. So Soldier and then Hog would probably be the second best. So we want to make sure that we're using our nanos to where they're going to get value, rather than when they're not going to get value. Because Ash just doesn't get any kills with this, but that's just because Ash is not a great target to be nanoing in general. You don't want to have to nano targets who are skill shot characters. You don't nano Widow, you don't nano Ash, you don't nano Kree unless he has his ult, or Soldier unless he has his ult. Because it's just the fact that they need to land shots to get value out of it, whereas you could nano a more consistent damage target. That's why a lot of tanks are great nano targets, like Monkey, Reinhardt, is because they don't. It's not hard to land abilities on them, so they get a lot of good cleave like damage that is very easy to land.
Watching your back.
One more second. So starting this fight off, did we use sleep at all again?
Get in there.
I don't think so.
Okay, so
This will help.
again, right, sleep hasn't been used so far. Just something to take into account.
Watching your back.
Okay, nice, we're getting some staggers, so it's good for our team.
And here would be many.
Make sure our team's not blocking our nades. Huge sleep. Yeah, but with our nades there, just make sure our team's not jumping in the way. We gotta watch out for what our team's doing. Great sleep on the Monkey.
Behind you. You needed a doctor? Thank you.
Go. I keep you healed. Heal up. And here would be many. Healing enough.
Alright, so in this last fight, I'd probably say these are just a few situations where, like, we could have optimized a few things. There weren't really any big glaring things, but something like we're coming through here, we reload because we're not shooting at anything, so now we're actually doing more with our time. And then there's a few times here where we weren't really just shooting, when we could have maybe shot at maybe an enemy. So here that's fine, we just missed a few shots, but then, like here for example, if there's nothing to actively be doing, we either want to reload, or we want to be, shooting at an enemy here just to pump in some damage. Like as this ult charge that, ups, like, maybe allows it for our team to get a kill. Because Ryan's not in any danger. There's nobody around us who's in danger. So instead of just kind of standing here, we want to make sure that we're doing something with this time. Right, so add in some damage shots, reload, or just make sure we're not, taking those breaks that we were talking about. We want to make sure that we're kind of trying to optimize every single second that we get. Okay. Someone dives in on top of us. Make sure that we're not panicking. Be very very calculating with the sleep. Make sure we're not kind of trying to flick it. He's a big old fat target on top of your head. You still have 120 HP. Monkey doesn't do a whole lot of damage. You probably have like another 2-3 seconds before you're gonna die. If you need to, take an extra second to line this up, right? You don't need to rush it the second that he dives you, because we still are going to survive here for an extra little bit, right? We could have definitely just held on to it for a little bit and then slept him. Just make sure we're not panicking sleeps, especially when it's a big old tank right in our face.
Thank you, Angela.
Okay, now we're coming up. We have Nano this fight. Same thing as before. We have Nano Visor again. Probably going to be the best thing that we can use against them again, right? They don't have any shields to block it. Because they're all spread out, because they're on like a dive. That's going to get us more value than like a Whole Hog, because Whole Hog, it has fallout, or not fallout damage, it has spread, so it's going to do less damage further away they are. So that we're going to get a lot more value out of Nano Visor than Ryan or Whole Hog here. So Nano Visor is probably the best thing that we can go for here. So we want to be looking for that. Right now, it looks like we have a significant ult advantage, or at least one ult here. They have 1, 2, 3, almost 3 and 4, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have a big ult advantage here. We just want to make sure that we're running in fast, using our ults fast, so that we are getting in fast, right? The longer we wait here, the more time it gives them to build up their ultimates. More time it gives them to use their ultimates and get picks, right? If we just run in with 5 ults here, we only need to win one fight. If we just run in, then we basically win. So in this situation, we pretty much just want to be nanoing our soldier as soon as we see the opportunity, because that we don't want to wait for like a perfect opportunity here, because we want to be getting this done fast, right? We don't want to be trying to take this super slow.
I'll keep you healed.
I call for Nano Visor. I tried to tell him to go to the high ground, but he wasn't in voice.
Something else that we can do is also just try to, when we know, first off, if to check to see if they're in voice, right? At the very beginning of the game, we want to press P and just check to see if they're in chat. Just so you know, right? Are they, or are you, if you're whatever, I think you might be console, or I can't remember.
PC.
Your PC, okay, yeah. Then you can just press P and you can check to see who's in your team chat, and it'll also tell you in the chat box who's in team chat, or how many people are in team chat. So there's a few different ways so you can check that, just so you know who you can communicate with. That's really important to know. And then the second thing here is just like, it's the same thing as when you're up against up with a Genji and you're looking for a Nano Blade, especially when you know that they're not in team chat or you're not communicating it properly. Make sure you're keeping extra aware of where the Genji's at, and just like you want to position yourself so that you can nano the Genji when he dashes up in the air. If we're back here and Genji dashes up in the air, how are we going to nano him, right? In the same way, we want to make sure that we're kind of trying to follow around our soldier. If he's going on a flank like this, we want to make sure that we're with him, because otherwise we won't be able to get the nano off on him. So we can change up our positioning so that we're following him around if we're trying to land that nano visor.
You're covered.
Okay, so we start using ults, we get the res off, we are currently up 1.
You're powered up. Get in
Okay,
there.
we nano the Ashe again.
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
It's unfortunate.
Heroes never die.
I'm not with the minute. This is going to hurt. I have your back.
Okay, so typically in against a dive on Ana, we're gonna be a big focal target for them to dive, right? A lot of the time, since we don't have mobility and whatnot, they're gonna look to be diving us, but that does not seem to be the case this game. This game, we haven't had them diving us really much at all. There's only been a few times where we've been dove, and really what that's gonna do to change up our playstyle is when we are noticing that in the middle of a fight, in the middle of a round, in the middle of the game, right? We just want to then change up our playstyle because if they're continuously diving us, we want to save our abilities for when they dive us, right? We want to be able to nade them when they dive in to give us health and to purple them easy and to also be able to sleep them. But if we're never getting dove, then if we're holding on to them, then we're never getting value out of those abilities. So we need to identify are they diving us this fight? Are they diving me this game, right? Or that these guys don't seem to be consistently diving me, so maybe I should be looking for nades and sleeps more often, maybe just tossing them out there. Because what you're doing right now is you're holding on to them for when they dive on you, or at least that's what you should be doing, except for they're not diving you ever. Because they're diving maybe like Soldier or Ash or something like that. And then that just means that we are holding on to abilities for too long when we could be using them more actively in fights. So just be watching that and trying to change up your playstyle based off of their playstyle. And so if we see that we're not getting dove at all, we might want to start using our abilities more often.
Capture the objective.
Activated. Enemy contact.
أنا هاخد بالي منه. You're going to be okay.
Right, so another fight where we essentially didn't use abilities, and when we did, we pretty much lost that fight already. It was by the time I used sleep, I'm pretty sure it was like a 3v6 or a 4v6. So, just again, make sure we're looking to actively use abilities. Nade and sleep are our biggest carrying potential. We've talked about this before. We're going to be able to carry the best if we're landing big nades and big sleeps, and if we're never using our abilities, that carrying potential goes away.
I've seen worse. You're going to live. Die either. I have your back.
Get behind.
Just delivered.
Request healing so your other support's healing you. And there you go.
Get back in the fight. This will help.
So here it looks like we're a little bit behind the curve when our tanks are pushing in, right? We're looking at our soldier and our hog, and then our Ryan and hog are up there when we're pushing in. Make sure we're kind of like on the same page as our team so that we're pushing at the same time, because would have been a perfect opportunity to maybe land a nade. If we're up where our hog's at when our Ryan's pushing in, then that means that we're able to nade this hog. We land the hook on hog too, right? We land a sleep or a nade on that, either or really, and we just get a free pick, right? But because we're not really with our tanks here, then that means that we don't get value. Also, just like remember, just because nade doesn't go through teammates, that doesn't mean sleep doesn't. So if we see the hogs trying to get out here, we can't land a nade because we have 3 teammates in the way, but we can land the sleep because we just launch that through them. So we can land the sleep in the hog, he can't get away as easily, and then we can secure kills off of that. Now we do end up getting the nade, but that one's just not as punishable as the previous one would have been, right? Where we would have been basically guaranteed a kill if we had gotten the nade on the hog. Sigma can just kind of back off to his team there. Okay. Just with this sleep, and that's pretty much it.
Wasn't cut out for retirement
Yep, just
anyways.
practice the sleeps, make sure we're landing those. Nothing really game sense wise you missed there.
I think just
Nice sleep.
Dein Schutzengel ist da.
You're covered. You're powered up. Get in there.
Sie sterben nicht.
We're leaving to win it. I have your back.
Heroes never die.
Die wieder.
Yeah, so with our positioning, it seems that we're constantly trying to play super, super far back. And the reason why that's not good, like we just remember we've talked about this again, right? We or at least we have. I'm pretty sure we have talked about the 3 check marks to on a position, correct?
Right.
Right? So remember, we have to be trying to put ourselves in a position to land nades and sleeps. And if we're never putting ourselves in a position to land those effectively, then it's gonna be a lot more difficult to land nades and sleeps. So, what like just a basic thing that we can do to make that easier on ourselves, and in this environment on Koth or on Koth, there's no off angles really that we can take really easily. So now on Koth, we just want to make sure that we're playing closer to the enemy team, because if we're playing, like, for example, right next to our tanks, then at least when we're looking for our nades, then we can just kind of walk in really easily. So if we're like, for example, like, let's go through this last fight here, right?
You're covered.
Oh, I didn't mean to be on 2 times.
We're leaving to win it.
Right? We land the big shatter. If we're here with our Reinhardt, we just land that nade and we get 3 people, right? And then we're good. That's pretty much a fight win because we landed on 3 people. We're running in with our team, but again, we're really far back away from our tanks, and then this means that we're just not we're not putting ourselves in a position to where we can effectively land our abilities. And it's really gonna be really difficult to land a nade from there. And I think we do chuck in a nade here, and it just hits a shield, right? So we want to make sure that we're putting ourselves in a position to where maybe it's a lot easier to land their nades because we're putting ourselves in a closer position, and we can keep ourselves alive. Like you might be thinking like, oh well, if I'm closer, then doesn't that mean I'm gonna die more often? Well, we can also like still keep really good positioning even if we're closer to them by using cover, by using our tanks as cover. Right? We can stand pretty much be like right inside of them or behind them. We can use positioning to where we're, standing like over here, or let's say the far's not here, or something like that, where we're just like, standing right here behind the wall. No one on their team can really see us. We can kill the far if we need to. But from here, we can just go peek, nade, okay, hogs naded, we're good, right? We just want to make sure we're putting ourselves closer so that we have the option to land our abilities rather than sitting super far back and never being able to land abilities. Because so far, we've only landed 1 nade this round, or gotten 1 anti this round, and before that, I think last round, maybe we got 1 anti too. So far, really the biggest thing that we're gonna have to work on is at least for this game in particular, is our ability usage, because we're not landing nearly enough abilities that are carrying the game.
Score 1-1. Ready for battle.
Simulate our upcoming mission to identify all possible outcomes.
Income swapped up a little bit. We are on Orisa Hog, double sniper, Mercy. We are playing pretty much an entirely spam composition, right? We are on double sniper. They, on the other hand, are running mainly a spam comp. But it's like, just a little bit different of a spam comp. They're on the Pharah, so we should have the advantage right off the bat here because we have double sniper. So hopefully we should be just winning this off of that. Nano targets. Oh, we swapped off the Widow, so now we're on Genji. Nano target, obviously, number 1 is going to be Genji. Number 2 would be Roadhog here. Or, of course, both of them when they have their ultimates. Okay, make sure we're not. I'm pretty sure this was something that we've talked about previously, but you know, scoping in our appropriate ways. Right here, we try to like quick scope like 3 times, or at least we're scoping in at a range that's not really needed. Right, our whole team's kind of right next to us, and us scoping in is just unnecessary. Now that one on the Genji is necessary. That's farther away.
Take your medicine. Get healed.
Okay, good nade to keep your team alive. That's a situation where using nade for the healing is necessary.
This will help.
Okay.
I will keep
You know,
you
sometimes it can be really tempting to try to sleep him when he's really far away from you, but just keep in mind that the closer the Doomfist gets to you two, the easier of a sleep it's gonna be, and you're not really in a big danger of dying as you two are pocketing each other. So just let him. Oh, sorry. Let him come in a little bit closer, and then that sleep becomes a lot easier to land.
Get behind the barrier.
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
Safety, please go behind the barrier.
Okay, good attempt at a nade. That was the situation. I at least, even if we didn't actually land a nade on anything, I at least applaud the attempt to land the nade, and that's exactly what we want to be looking to be doing. So even if we did end up whiffing it, that's still the type of play that you want to be making. So just because the we ended up missing that was still good game sense and good decision making.
Die healed.
Just spam I need healing. For some reason your Mercy's trying to pistol him. Yeah, but whenever you just see that you're being flanked like that, just spam I need healing, and then that way your other support knows where you're at and they can come help you out.
I need healing.
I will keep you healed.
You have my thanks.
Okay, so we swapped up the Genji. We are now on McCree, and we also swapped up to a Pharah. So now we're probably the main one we're looking to nano is going to be our Pharah, but she doesn't. Or sorry, Pharah is our priority target, but because she doesn't have her barrage, we might want to instead be looking to nano the Hog here. Pharah is great target with or without barrage. She's going to get a lot of value with it. Most of the time, it gives her really the damage reduction that lets her get super aggressive, and then with Nano she's able to do a ton of big group damage, so she's a pretty great target to Nano, and especially looking at the enemy team comp right now, they don't really have much to contest her, so Farah's gonna be probably the one we want to Nano, but if we're trying to use Nano this fight, then we might want to do the Hog instead. Okay, them on the enemy team, they have Sigma ult, they have Nano, they have Doomfist ult, right? We'll ult track here real quick. We're mainly going to want to be thinking about staying, away from the Sigma and Doomfist ultimates. We can sleep the Sigma when he's in ultimate. We can sleep the Doomfist as he comes out of ultimate. So we just want to be aware of those 2 easy sleeps to land, or Sigma maybe not so easy, but that's at least a good sleep to attempt to go for.
I have your back.
Damage amplified.
Get healed.
Meteor strike.
Okay. So when we get dove like this, look instead of looking to the ground, look to always attempt to try to look to like a side wall or something like that, because there's going to be less time for you getting that healing, which gives you like a higher chance to stay alive. Because if you see like there's a delay between while you're in the air and you're having to wait to get to nade the ground, whereas what you could have done is as soon as you get lifted up in the air, you just turn to the wall to your left, and then you get that nade off that. One, that heals you up faster, and 2, that also gets the Doomfist in the nade as well. So that's something to keep in mind. Here, when we get Sigma ulted, it looks like we pause with our shooting, right? We could be healing Hog here. we just, take a break for a second. Keep in mind, that's also a situation we could have maybe gone for a nano on Hog, but we do have Barrage here, so that's also another option.
Rock it off.
Good sleep. Nano comes delayed, right? Same thing as when we're looking for a Nano Blade, right? We want to make sure that we're keeping an eye and paying attention on the Pharah. We're kind of keeping it so our crosshairs near her, or at least we're looking at her so that as soon as we see that she's looking for that barrage, we can quickly flick up at her, right? Because we don't want the Nano to come super delayed on her. So just keep aware of your Nano target and then keep an eye on your Nano target too.
Know you anymore.
Okay.
Bedtime. Let's get you back in the fight.
Nice. Oh, it's unfortunate they had to reload there. Good shots though. Okay, coming up on next fights, let's ult track real quick. They almost have a Transcendence, they have Hog, they have Reaper. We really want to be paying attention to both of those because we can very easily counter both of those by landing a sleep on them. So that we might want to save our sleep this fight for one of those in particular. Hog's going to be super easy to sleep, and then Reaper is probably going to be more important to sleep, but it's going to be much harder, right? So we just want to make sure with the Reaper, we're keeping an eye and ear out for him. We're letting our team know that they have Reaper and to watch out for him because we have stuns for him that we can use, right? We have Sleep, we have Nade, we have, or not Nade, we have Flashbang, we have a Hook, right? So we have a few different things that we can use to stop the Reaper and the Hog. So we just want to make sure that our team's ready for that. We, on the other hand, only have our Orisa Bongo, so they are probably going to have the advantage in this fight. So potentially, what we can do is try to go for a dry fight here, and then come back and try to win the next fight afterwards. So dry fight being, in case the terminology is, you don't know the terminology. Dry fight being just basically don't use any ults in this fight and try to get out their ult. Because if we get them to use all three of those ults, then that means that we are going to have the ult advantage for the next fight. Or we can also, I think it also could be a good idea to just use Bongo this fight. And then what that can do is just, even if we end up losing, that will charge up a ton of our ultimates. So either one works, using Bongo or not using Bongo.
That's much better. It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
Barrier activated.
My ultimate is charging.
Team up for special attack.
Overtime.
Get back in the fight.
In mind, when Hog's ulting, it's a very, very easy to sleep to try to land because he's moving very, very slowly. So all we have to do is, as soon as he peeks his doorway, is just launch sleep at this doorway, and it's not like he can juke it out very easily. So this sleep shouldn't be too difficult to land as long as we're just kind of lining it up on top of him.
Get back in the fight.
So make sure we're attempting to land that.
This will only hurt for a minute.
Okay, I think we're a little bit... Why do we need to reload there? Because, yeah, it looks like we probably could have reloaded at a different time because, again, right, we don't want to have to reload as there's an Ana who's out of position, 1 HP.
Will only hurt for a minute.
We'll look for the sleep on the Hog, big fat target to try to land it on.
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
Oh, huge sleep.
Heroes never die.
Okay. So we still have 22 minutes left. Do you have another replay to go over?
Yeah. Like, this was a game in which I just never had time to do anything else but be a heal bot because the amount of damage that was coming out was actually kind of insane. Discord, what are you doing? Oh.
Now entering King's Ready Row. For battle. Ready for battle.
Okay, so we are running a looks like a spam composition against a brawl composition mainly here. So that just means that right off the bat, our team should be looking to play a lot slower and further away than their team, right? Reinhardt is a close range character, Reaper's a close range character, Zarya's a close range character. Then the other half of them is spam, but they're mixed there. And then on our team comp, Riss is a long range character, Zen's a long range character, Hog's a long range character, Kree's a long range character. Genji and Ana are okay to be played at long range, but not fantastic. So just right off the bat, our team comp is looking to play a lot slower than their team comp is, so we want to be paying attention to that. If our team's playing too close to them, then we want to just let them know to play slow and play far. Okay, again, we're always putting space between us and our tanks. Make sure we're kind of up here. Instead of being where we're at right now, we want to be right here so that as soon as our tanks turn this corner, we're able to go in with them. Because a lot of the time, we're always lagging behind our team. Okay, and now we're out in the open. Make sure we're, instead of going off to the right there, we're staying on this left side, because this left side, right, gives us an angle on our entire team, and it's also out of their line of sight, so this is good positioning. It checks off 2 of our check marks, and no matter where we're at, there's not really a great a place to use our abilities here, so that's the best positioning that we can get. So crossing over to this other side, and are we going top? Unless we're going...
I can't remember.
Unless our team is calling to go to the high ground there should be no reason why we should cross over, because we're perfectly safe on the left there. And then crossing over, you saw that like basically you almost died trying to cross over. Right.
Right, I think we wanted to go top, and then Ryan got hooked, and I naded him, so it was a free kill,
Yep.
and I think we just go down main.
Bad guys, heads up.
I have your back.
Okay, again, we're a little bit far back.
Take your medicine.
So now we're not with our team on the rotation, which is going to open us up to take a lot of damage when we're trying to rotate in with them. Right, and then that means our wrist is off on our own because we're not with her. So again, right, make sure we're with her. Okay, we almost have a nano, or we're decently close to a nano blade. They are gonna have a trance for it. So here we can look to really just be getting that off on our Genji, even if he's like 80, 90 to his ultimate. Sometimes we can even get that on him then, because all he has to do is just dash through their tanks and then he gets it.
I've got you in my sights.
Look to use your nade on yourself, just heal up real quick. You're not going to be able to nade anybody anytime soon, so let's just get you back to full HP, or you grab the health pack, which is unlocked right next to you. So you just want to not be sitting at 144. I taught you the did I show you the Ana nade tech for landing long range nades?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just make sure you're looking to land those, because there has been a few times here where we're looking to land longer range nades, but we're not really taking any time to line it up. We're just chucking it in.
You're going to be okay.
I think the bubble ate that one.
I'm also talking about a few times last round too, or in last
Right.
game. But yeah, here really the big thing to think about this game is, though our team's taking a lot of damage, Sometimes a good offense is the best defense, and that's a very, very cliche phrase, but I can explain kind of how that applies to the situation better. If, say, we take the time away from our team and we decide to look for a big nade, and we nade 3 to 6 of them, right? We get, and they're all clumped up because they're on a brawl. So we land a a decently big nade, and we get it on them. Then that means that with that nade, we not only make it, doesn't mean that they're just not able to heal. That's also something that creates space for us. When we do damage to the enemy team, that opens up space, and therefore we actually take less damage as a result. So when we land a big 3 or 6 man nade, then now all of them are backing up. They're all hiding because then we can push in and we can get aggressive. And that means that they're all trying to regroup and wait until they're not purpled anymore. And in that time, they're therefore pumping out less damage into your team. So this is a situation where, even though our team, yes, is taking a lot of damage, us getting off that nade to just like get that ante in can mean the difference between us breaking this choke or not, because if we're landing that nade, that creates space for us to push in the same way that getting a pick creates space for us to get in, or having an ultimate and zoning them out creates space for us to get in, right? So that's just how we can have an impact on getting through this choke point. um, Whereas, like, we can just flat out heal people all day and not really go anywhere, right? If we're only heal botting and doing nothing else, we're not gonna have any impact on getting through the choke.
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
Probably not necessary if we're transcending here, unless of course like you see that they're about to out damage it with like 2 or 3 ults or something like that. So just watch the trans, right? We know that we have trans because then that's just a nade that we have that we can use to, just push in with after we're done transing. So
Scratch. You'll be fine.
let's say here, we walk a little bit closer, and the grab ends. We can just peek this corner real quick, chuck in a nade at the Ryan once he drops shield here. Like right now, chuck a nade, and then we just get a purple off when instead of wasting it on the team who's already getting tranced. Okay, we have the Genji. Okay, good job. When we know that they have trance, kind of, again, if we're looking for a nano blade and they have trance, our number one priority should be to try to get that nade off on the team, not just the Reaper on the sidelines, because then we actually get value out of our blade. If we can purple some people on their team, then that means that our Genji, the Transcendence, doesn't do anything, does jack squat, and our Genji gets free picks off of the blade.
For your own safety, get behind the barrier.
Yeah, so yes, I can totally see what you're meaning here when you were saying before how you feel like your team's taking a crap ton of damage and they're always needing healing. But you just have to remember. Oh, for some reason my Steam's opening up. 1 second, I have to close this out. You just have to remember that healing is not the only, like, you're a support, not a healer. That's something to get through your head. Healing is not the only thing that makes you a support character. You being a support character also comes with your utility that you provide and your ability to create space off of something like your nades. So just kind of that'd be something I'd like think of sometimes, or like I guess a phrase to remember. You're a support, not a healer. If you're just healing, you're never gonna climb because you're never doing anything more than keeping your team alive.
This will help.
Walk closer so you get that healing too.
I just wanted to stay behind the shield.
Patched up.
Objective A captured. Escort the payload.
Okay, if your Zen's not going cart, you should probably be the one in cart.
I do. I was just waiting for it to come out.
Hmm.
Get back in the fight.
Okay, so we have a ton of ults here. And they have a few ults too. So they have a Transcendence again. They have, or almost have a Grav. They have a Reaper ult. They have a Visor. We have a Blade. We have a Nano. We have a Hoggle. We have a whatever that's called Bongo, and then we almost have a Trance. So big thing here is we're just looking to combo ultimates, and we're not trying to use all 5 at once unless they use like all 4 of their ults at once. But preferably we try to not be using everything at once because we do need to win 2 fights here, not just 1 fight. So we use Whole Hog. They have Trance. We can probably look to Nano Blade here, and then we just want to make sure that we're looking for our nade after we on their Transcendence here. And then on top of that, we just want to make sure we're also watching our flank for the Reaper because probably like 80% of the time, a Reaper's probably going to try to be coming from a flank with his ultimate. So we just got to watch out for that. Okay, we're a little bit, again, lagging behind our tanks to where Hog's up there, we're right here. We don't have line of sight on him. Number 1 check mark on, or first check mark, right? Can we see our team? We want to make sure we can see our team so we can keep up our Hog there.
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
Okay, now that was just McCree being dumb. We gotta regroup now.
You're going to be okay.
Team up for special attack.
Die either.
Into the iris.
Okay, so we lost the fight, but now we're good. We got the Transcendence out somehow, so now we have a free Nano Blade for this next fight. That's looking good for us.
Name. You're powered up. Get in there.
Demon becomes me. I've got you in my sights.
Watching your back.
Payload secure.
Okay, Hog's eating all of our shots on the Genji. Make sure that we're positioning ourselves in a place to where we can see the person that's going to be taking the most damage. In this case, if we know that our Genji's going in with a Nano Blade, who is the entire enemy team going to be looking at?
Genji.
So we want to make sure that we're putting ourselves in a position to where we can see Genji, and that also includes making sure that big fat Hog's not in our face, because if Hog's jumping in front of our vision here, that means we're not in a bad position when we could just walk to the left here, and now we see Genji, right? So we just want to make sure that this is the same concept behind Nade, is we're moving outside of the line of sight of our team, because we're trying to shoot Genji, or at least if we're not trying to shoot Genji, we should be trying to shoot Genji, and Hog's just soaking up a ton of these shots.
The demon becomes me.
Right? He steals this one, he steals that one. Okay, now we should be looking at the Genji, he steals that one, right? We shoot the Hog 4 times, and we should have been focused on the Genji. And that means that Genji gets instantly melted.
Get back in the
Again, something else to keep in mind is if our Genji's going in aggressively, that means that we can also push in aggressively. Since their main, like most of their team is looking at our Genji, if we push forwards, it's very unlikely that we're gonna be punished for it. So we can press W and toss in a nade and toss in a sleep and get away with it because they're not gonna be looking at us, they're gonna be looking at our Genji. So get more aggressive when we know that our team is pushing forward aggressively. If we have one person going in aggressively, then that's why Genji dies here, right? Genji dies because of the fact that even though this is an even fight, our entire team just sits at choke. Oh wait, I didn't rewind. Whoops. Our entire team sits at choke when he goes in, and then that means that he just gets shredded by 4 people. So push in aggressively when he has Blade. That way we can heal him easier, and we can land a big old nade, which again, right, creates space and puts pressure on them and stops them from healing each other and just makes it easier for Genji to get value. Just get aggressive with it.
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
Huge sleep. with a nade, make sure we're, trying to get around shields when we're going for nade. We can get around shields by timing it for when Giant's dropping a shield. We can time it, try to throw it around shields. We can throw it for on somebody who's out of position. We can wait till Ryan dies to land nade. There's a bunch of different ways to get it around shields. We just want to make sure that we're thinking of those ways and we're trying to actively look to get it around Ryan. Kind of same thing as last time. I said this. I applaud the idea. This is good. We should be looking to do this more often. It's just that because we never do this, it just doesn't work out because we're not used to looking for that. That's the thing that you want to be trying to do, and you see that we actually got out of this for free, right? We don't end up dying here. This is the type of aggression with nades that we want to look for. It's just that since we're inexperienced with that form of aggression, we're whiffing those sleeps, those nades, both last game and this game. So we want to make sure that we're trying to do that type of thing more often, where we're actively stepping forward to look for our nades, so that we can make openings for our team to get aggressive. Great sleep again. Right, they don't have a single shield right now. There's nothing stopping us from, just peeking this corner and getting a 3, 2, maybe 4-man nade, right, if we just chuck it in between them all. So just, get aggressive when they don't have a shield to stop that, because that creates easy cleanups, and if we can clean up those kills, that stops Zarya from getting out with full charge. That makes it so that it's less likely that they're going to be able to recontest the point, and it just gets us all ult charge and stuff like that. So we did end up getting the nade here, right? And we see that helped our team get finish off the kill, so that's great. It was just me becoming a little late, and we only got on one person instead of getting on 4 people. Okay, coming into this next fight, they have Grav, they have Reinhold, they have Cole, they almost have Visor, but they probably won't have that for this fight, or at least the start of this fight. We have Nano, we don't have Blade, so if in this situation, if we can either do two things, sorry. We can wait until until we can save our ult until next fight, and when the Genji has Blade, or we can use it on somebody else. Now, I probably would wait and see if we need the Nano, and then if you think that the fight is looking like it might be lost, or it's like even-ish or something like that, then we might want to use Nano maybe on our Hog here when he's whole hogging. Or if he whole hogs too early, we can maybe Nano the McCree as well. So just think about these priorities in our head, and then just kind of look to be using Nano in the correct and appropriate situation here. Okay, so we do end up looking to use it with the nade. They're gonna be able. Okay, we do get the kill on the Ryan, but then our McCree gets picked. Again, remember, we can be extra aggressive with our nades when we know that they don't have a shield, right? How are they going to block it if they don't have a shield? So just be looking to land our nades here. Again, Hog soaks up shots that we're trying to hit on somebody else, right? Who's more in danger here, Hog or Sigma?
Sigma.
Right, so we step to the side, make sure Hog's not eating these shots, because Hog is not low, he's not in the front line. Want to make sure that same thing when we're trying to land a nade, is we're not letting our team jump in front of our shots if we're trying to land them. So we move to the side, we just push, to a different angle so that we can shoot around the Hog.
60 seconds.
Okay, grab the health pack or nade yourself here so that you're not sitting at 100 HP. Okay, coming into this next fight, we have they have a slam, they have a trance, we have a high noon, we have a blade, we have a trance, and we almost have a Sigma ult. Really, we want to let our team know that they have the slam, because that's then is on our Sigma to block it, and we want to make sure that we're kind of trying to look to, dodge it or try to get out of line of sight of it. With trance, we can look to nade it again. And then besides that, we don't really have anything on our team that combos well. So we don't need to worry about combos. We just want to make sure that we're watching for their ults.
I will keep you here.
Okay, we get picked right off the bat. That might mean that we want to just play a little bit passive, but we do get the counter pick. So now we're even.
This will help.
Our team again steps in front of our nades. It looks like especially this game in particular, we're very unaware of where our team is in our surroundings. We want to make sure that we're paying attention to where our team's at, because when we're not paying attention to where our team's at, that leads to a ton of our shots and our nades getting intercepted, and then we're getting a lot less value out of them. I think this is like the third or fourth time so far this game where we've just missed abilities flat out because our team's jumping in front of it. So we just want to make sure that that's not happening consistently by being aware of where they're at and dodging them out.
30 seconds.
Get back in the fight.
Time is an illusion, but the illusion is about to run out.
That's funny. I've never heard that voice line. Time is an illusion, but the illusion is about to run out.
Oh.
All right. We have a nano blade up now. We can look to use that here, but we have 5 ultimates. We might not want to use all 5 because they only have 2 ults right now. So maybe we use nano blade and we toss in a nade. But I probably say if we're just going flat out, what is the best strat here? I'd probably say a Sigma High Noon would probably be the best thing we could go for here, because what that's going to do is it will probably bait out this Transcendence from the Zenyatta, because for some reason the Zenyatta is going to think that that's going to stop the Sigma ult, yet the High Noon's just going to one-shot them anyways. So Sigma ult High Noon is probably going to be the best combo we could go for here, because then we have a free Nano Blade for the next fight. So that's just, some advanced ult planning to be thinking through. Again, they have Shatter, so let our Sigma know that they have Shatter, and then he needs to block it. Okay, we do end up using Nano Blade, but we get shattered because Sigma doesn't block it. So of course we cannot completely stop this. We can maybe try to land a sleep on him, and we can also try to communicate with our Sigma so that it makes it easier on Sigma to block it because he knows it's coming. But that's pretty much it. So yeah, we end up losing or winning this fight. Let's see.
It's a lost fight.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, so that pretty much wraps up the time that we have for this session. I'm going to stop the recording now.